I'm joined by Brian Carroll, the Business Development Manager of Dortech Architectural Systems Limited, and we're going to be discussing All Saints Roman Catholic High School, a project recently undertaken by Dortech for Tilbury Douglas. So Brian, how did the project with All Saints start?
Okay, Tilbury Douglas approached us in early 2024 to look at this project with them as part of a group of 4 schools that they were actually going to be building during the course of the year. We have partnered with Tilbury Douglas for quite a few years now, particularly in developing their DFE work, so school building for the Department of Education. This was a project that was worth about £440,000 worth of aluminium windows and doors to us. And again, Tilbury Douglas engaged with us fairly early in the process so that we could help them develop the technicalities of the project. One of the big issues that we see with all school work is that the client is always concerned about solar gain, so the G value. They're always looking to achieve a U value of 1.1 for the aluminium windows and the frames combined, and they also require certain daylight factors, so maximising the amount of daylight that they can get into the classroom so the pupils are working with proper daylighting conditions. So they're all things that need to be assessed together, because obviously, for example, if you are lowering the G value of the glass, so reducing the amount of solar radiant heat that's coming into a building, you are at the same time reducing the amount of light that's coming into the building. So you have to look at making bigger panes of glass to try to maximise that light whilst minimising solar glare. So it's really 2 different things that are fighting against each other at the same time.
So it requires a lot of design input, and I guess the environment the better the environment the students are in, the more likely they are to learn better and be more comfortable in that environment. One of the other factors with schools is ventilation as well. So could you talk through the process of what you did in terms of calculating the required ventilation for the school?
Yeah, this one was a little bit different in the mechanical the ventilation through the school, the main strategy was being looked at from a mechanical point of view. So there are louvers glazed into the head of our windows that have a ducting system connected to the rear of them, which is sucking air into the building and providing ventilation that way. But at the same time, we have been tasked with providing purge ventilation through the windows. So effectively, they're almost like a placebo for a member of staff in there on a warm day to open the windows, whilst in fact the ventilation strategy is being dealt with via the MVHR units.
Right, got you. And being a school, obviously security is a big issue as well. Dortech is secure by design accredited. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, so effectively we have had to have all the doors and windows on the schools to be past 24 accredited, and Dortech, as you mentioned, are accredited to provide this service. So our supply chain provide windows with fittings such as multi-point locking, so which is a locking system that goes all the way around the window. So rather than it just being locked at the point where the handle is, it's locked at multiple points around the frame, which would make it very difficult for anybody to try to physically prise that window open. The doors are the same, they have maximum security locking on them, so that they're to avoid any burglar attack.
Tilbury Douglas is a customer that Dortech have worked with for many years. Can you talk through how that relationship has developed?
So we've worked with Tilbury Douglas now for many years, particularly out of the Northwest office, which has allowed us to develop relationships with their senior management people, right from director level down to the management on site of the individual projects. It's worked really well because it's the same people that we work with project after project, and this has helped to develop an open and honest relationship. We find that working with them is very transparent. If there's issues, we can bring them to the table and we can collectively decide how we're going to resolve them. Likewise, if they have requests or concerns about anything, they can raise that with us, and we can, as a team, work through any problems and solve them.
Fantastic. So what does the future look like with Tilbury Douglas, and how's it developing?
Okay, Tilbury Douglas have another tranche of school projects coming through. I think there's 4 more in the pipeline, one of which we already have an instruction for to begin developing the design. And we believe that there are 3 more primary schools coming down the line too, which will be required on site late 26, early 27. As I touched upon earlier, we are now being appointed at stage 3. For people who aren't aware, the architectural phases of design run from stage 1, which is the original concept, up to stage 5, which is construction on site. Previously, it was normal for especially subcontractors such as ourselves, to be appointed at stage 4, which was when the majority of the design was complete, and effectively we will provide cost plans or proper tenders at that stage. We are now being appointed by contractors at stage 3 to assist in developing the design, which means that our appointments are now probably occurring as much as 6 to 12 months earlier than they would have done previously. This helps us assist our customers in making sure that their design is right by the time they go to final cost commitment with their clients.
That's fantastic. So in terms of the benefits to us, obviously it gives Dortech the ability to forecast work coming down the line. It gives the customer surety of cost and potential opportunities to value engineer without rushing things. And it also avoids like a cost focus in terms of project. So would you say it's more of a value-driven approach?
I think it certainly is. It's more value for our customers and for the end client, in that the design is being developed by specialists such as ourselves at an early point, rather than relying on the overall concept design of the building, i.e. the architect, whose expertise doesn't necessarily filter down to every trade that there is on a project. They're getting that specialist designer input at the point where they need it, rather than at a point where it could be cost prohibitive.
All right, fantastic. And working on the All Saints project, were there any key lessons learnt?
I think, again, the only challenge that we really had with the All Saints project was that in the interface between the windows, there was an element that originally began life as cladding, which led to it being a difficult design in that it was introducing more interfaces into the project. Obviously, the more window elements you have with cladding abutting them, the more interfaces you have, and the more likelihood you have to introduce a weakness in the design between 2 trades. So it was decided quite early on in the project that instead of introducing cladding between the window bands, we would in fact put a window spandrel panel in at those points instead, to provide continuity across the facade, reducing the amount of interfaces that we had.
Well, that's Brian Carroll, the Business Development Manager from Dortech Architectural Systems, in an overview of the All Saints Roman Catholic High School. If you have any inquiries or any projects requiring architectural glazing, get in touch with Dortech Architectural Systems today. You can find us on a website, which is www.dortech.co.uk, or you can phone us on 01484 45 1177. Thank you for watching.